What's up everybody? This is Damron. We're playing Splinter Blacklist. This is part 6 of my Perfectionist playthrough with no kill option engaged, aka beating the game and not killing anyone as Sam Fisher. That brings us to the 6th mission, which is Abandoned Mill. And obviously we are playing on the most difficult setting, the Perfectionist difficulty. As I've mentioned in the previous parts, we're not going to discuss the entire setup here. I do recommend you play the game a little bit so you can unlock some money, unlock better gear, get your stealth rating up. Bringing the crossbow with the sleeping gas is kind of critical to this playthrough. Also give credit to where credit is due. This game is a little old. I'm just kind of throwing this guide together because I thought some of the older guides were a little outdated. The gameplay was very dark. I used Macca's guide, which is very good for some of my strategies, although I've updated a lot of these playthroughs to go a little bit quicker in these missions and go a little bit quicker and more efficiently with the crossbow and kind of getting through sections. But some of his strategies were very sound. The gameplay was just a little dark. Also, I have a complete collectible guide for this game, so if you're looking for all the collectibles, feel free to check that out. In this playthrough, we're just focused on getting through as quickly as we can on Perfectionist, so we will be skipping the cutscenes and just kind of blasting through. So this mission starts out, just take the path that I took here, and eventually it's just going to trigger a cutscene where you're climbing up this pole. So that's actually a pretty easy path to get around the first section. Once you get to the top of the roof, again, we're going to take this pipe, climbing to the roof. There is an enemy up here. You can see him on the mini map. We're going to go to the right side once you get to the top of this little pipe here, and you can shimmy up this portion up to the ceiling, or the rooftop I should say, and immediately go right, and then he won't spot you. Climb over on this corner, and we're actually going to kind of go around this structure here on the rooftop. We don't have to worry about that guy seeing us as long as you take that path. And then once we get to the next section, there are two guys that can see you if you're on the ground, but miraculously, if you go around the corner and shimmy up to the guardrail of this roof here, I guess that's just too high for them to see. So just go around the corner when he's not looking, and then go to the top, and now you'll actually be able to shimmy all along this roof. And somehow they just can't see you, which is pretty funny. But anyway, go around the corner here and just jump over the wall here. There is a guy patrolling on the ground, so make sure he's not here, but he shouldn't be if you're going relatively quickly. Jump down, go across the little alley up into the next building, and now you're past that sniper who's also looking out into the courtyard. Now we're going to go onto the back side of this building, across this other little alley between these rooftops, and onto the next rooftop where we'll enter a skylight to get through this section. Now be careful right here. This guy does move. You see this guy kind of looking out, but if he is looking out, you should be able to walk around him no problem, but he will move. And there's also a second guy here, so I like to climb on this little building just so I can get an eye on where he is. And then when his back is turned, you can just drop down through this skylight and you're past that section. Now there is also an enemy that can be in this room. You can see him right there. If he's looking out that window, you're pretty much good to go. Now I see he actually turned around and almost spotted me, but just keep an eye on him. You're pretty much good to go. If he's looking out that window, you should be able to get through the doorway no problem, and we're pretty much past that entire section very quickly and very efficiently.
Can you give me specifics?
We're looking at specialists. Chemical engineers, snipers, tech operatives.
Well, this sounds like an all-star team.
I guess you can add professional drivers to that list. SMI's been tracking the truck since it left the mill, hit every tunnel in the city, and swapped vehicles more than once.
We lost it.
Their cargo must be connected to the next attack.
I copy.
Alright, moving on to the next section. There can be a lot of enemies in this section here, and there's a lot of different ways to actually go about going through this room here. I recommend just going ahead and taking them out with the sleeping crossbow, and it's going to make your life easier. Kind of shimmy your way over to the left side of the building and through this window. Now you're going to notice that there is a drop down here, but you can climb up this pipe here to get to the second level. The only thing really about going up to that second level is that you kind of get stuck up there with really no way to get around the beams that are in the middle of the room on Perfectionist, because when you climb on these beams here, I'll show you right here in the middle, the guys that are patrolling will actually spot you and spot you pretty quickly. Anyway, so I just wanted to show you this upper level because a lot of the old videos, older strats, kind of slowly go through moving around these beams. I'm actually going to go back to the bottom level and show you how to get through this section in a matter of seconds. But if you do want to get through this area without disturbing an enemy, which there's really no purpose for that really, then you'll have to take that upper route and just take it very, very slow. Nonetheless, when we go back down to the bottom floor, go ahead and hang past right here, get behind this table that's up against this pole, and eventually an enemy is going to come here, and that's really going to be our trigger to setting off this sequence of events that is pretty much going to eliminate all the enemies in this room. So we're going to knock him out, and again, make sure you're setting to non-lethal during all of your knockouts, because we are going for the no kill option engaged. And once you take him out, there's going to be a guy that's going to be coming down the stairs just to the right of us. You can see him. He will spot you, but that's okay. As long as you knock him out before the marker becomes red, it'll be okay. So knock him out in the shadow at the bottom of the stairs, and then you're going to have these two guys here. We're going to sleep dart, boom, move to the right, sleep dart, boom, and now we've pretty much wiped out this room and can move on just by taking out this final enemy at the end of this hallway here. So very easy way to get through that room. So moving on, be careful here. Make sure you actually take cover up against these windows, because these guys will spot you if you're actually not taking cover. So be sure you're actually on that wall, and then just kind of cover to cover over there. And if you cover to cover, it'll do it quick enough that you won't get spotted, and we can progress down to the bottom floor. Alright, so moving on, this next section can be a little bit tricky, but if you follow the path that I take here, it's actually pretty easy. So jump down. This guy's going to be looking over the ledge here, so you don't have to worry about him. Just go into the door, and then if you walk into this next room, you'll actually see a pipe above you. You can jump onto that and take that pipe all the way over to the campfire kind of like barrel here, right? You've got a flaming barrel with two guys on it, and they'll just be sitting there. And there's a guy that's looking over the ledge over here to the left. Generally, I'll take out the guy that's looking over the ledge just because I don't want him to spot me, and then gas those two guys as they're standing by the barrel. And now you've gassed all three of them. Now you can just drop down and go to the right. And then you're going to go into this little doorway here, and you'll actually be able to get through this section relatively easily just by gassing those three enemies. So then we're going to jump over the wall, shimmy across over this way, and into the next section of the level.
Bring in the central office. Whoever left here did it in a hurry. Got files from around.
Alright, so after the cutscene, you'll be instructed to enter that truck there, and you actually can't be spotted here. You will fail this portion of the mission, so you must do this undetected without actually taking out the enemies. You can't gas anybody, you can't knock anybody out. So just drop down, get behind this pillar here. This guy by the tires is just going to be looking towards the truck. And the key here is when you look on the mini-map, the guy to the left is the guy you got to worry about. But if you cover to cover to these tires, miraculously they will not see you, and then you can just run up to the truck and press A. So with one move you can get into the truck, and then after a cutscene of you being in it, you will be out. As soon as you're out, go up to the front of the truck, and we're going to go around the front, and all we need to worry about is this guy that you see on the mini-map that's actually facing the same direction that we are. As soon as he turns around, we're actually pretty clear to get past this section of the level, as well as if you go through the route I'm taking you, eventually eventually you will find a grate here in the floor that you can enter, and now we can take this path all the way past all of the enemies and into the next room that is past the door that you need to go in. So you're going to open this grate, pop out. Now be a little careful when you walk by. Be sure you walk by a little bit quickly through that gap in the doors. They can spot you through there. But once you do that, boom, we're on to the next part of the level. So in this room, as you saw here, there's actually several enemies. I like to just go ahead and take these two guys out on the ground floor. There's also two enemies up on the catwalk to my right. But if you just take those guys out on the ground floor, you can actually take the left path all the way around the rest of the enemies. And when they're not looking, now we can just advance again through the next stage of the level. So that's a pretty easy way to get through that room. And once you kind of move on, again, you're going to be instructed to go into these grates here below us. You're going to start getting a little woozy from the material that's in the truck. That is normal. Don't worry about that. But you're going to come to this ladder here that's in the lower sewage part of the level. We're going to go down. And as soon as we get down to this area, there's a bunch of enemies that we need to get past. But if you just walk up to the right a little bit, there's a little pipe here that we can take. And there's 3 dogs on the ground that can give you problems, and all you need to do is take the pipe all the way forward and then throw a noisemaker behind you to attract all 3 of the dogs, and then you'll be able to just run and the dogs won't give you any problems.
Elevated BP, tachypnea, tachycardia. Sam, it's all consistent with symptoms of nerve gas exposure.
I'm fine.
So it turns out Sam Fisher knows no symptoms. He's fine. So anyway, let's climb up this ladder, and this portion of the level is basically you're just going to have to walk until you collapse. So we'll just let that play. Just kind of follow towards the marker. There's not really anything you can do wrong here.
Your O2 stat is plummeting. You need a medic now, Sam.
Just
Bring him in.
He isn't responding. I'm moving in.
Sadiq wants this one alive.
Sam, do you copy?
So after you collapse, in a pretty cool cutscene, actually, you'll be in this portion with Briggs. Now, there's going to be a lot of enemies up here that you have to take out, and whenever, again, you get to this portion, the game has switched your loadout, so be sure you have a non-lethal loadout set. You have your stun gun available and not your pistol, and that your knockouts are set to non-lethal. That is important, because again, we have to take these enemies out, and if you kill one, then you will obviously void the no kills achievement. So move up, take this pipe here to the gap in the wall, jump through that, and then shimmy back towards the right hand side of the room. We're going to drop down and we're going to go past these enemies, and the reason is because after we take these enemies out, more enemies will actually insert the area, and as soon as you cross where they are, jump up on this wall, and pretty much we can jump back and forth from where I'm at, you know, without being seen. You can kind of jump through these windows and get a look on this side. You can jump back through the window and get a look on the other side like this. And basically you won't be seen up here, so take your time and use your stun gun to just take out all the enemies in the area. So that's what you're going to see me do. Just take your time, kind of, you know, hopping over which side of the wall just gives you a better vantage point to get a shot on the enemies. And once we stun all of them, we'll be advancing to the next section.
Take him down! Sam! Sam!
So as we're going up into actually the last portion of this level, there's 3 enemies we need to take out. I will mention another thing here. If Briggs kills an enemy, that's okay. So you can indeed just stay back and let him slowly and eventually take these enemies out. Obviously, it is a little faster to just use your stun gun, stun these 3 guys, and move on. But Briggs will eventually kill them if you feel like waiting long enough. But again, you do need to take them out, so it is quicker just to go ahead and get your stun gun out, bang, 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 and get moving on. And that's going to wrap it up for this level. We're going to go up the stairs and trigger the last cutscene. I know this game's a little older, as I mentioned, you know, I'm making this guy because I thought some of the older guys, the gameplay was dark. I have some new, more efficient, faster ways to play through these levels. So I hope you guys are enjoying it, that are watching it. I know that not a lot of people are going to be watching this guide, but if you do watch it, I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you find it helpful, and hopefully we'll see you in part 7.